first week of Decked Out 2, I came out with a video about the top 5 hermits in my opinion. Now, it's been a couple weeks since that video was up, and since it is the last day of phase 3, so most hermits have completed their runs for the week. So this time, instead of top 5, I'm actually going to choose a top 6 and show their statistics as well as go through some of their strengths and weaknesses. So let's start with Scar, the current winner in terms of points. So Scar has a strong success rate of 52.9, but his Ember average is only about 15, as well as only having an average of 2 successful crowns per run. This shows that he is actually quite behind in terms of gold and embers, as he's averaging about the same amount a level 1 run would give each time. Now, he does have 18 cards, but none of these, however, are uncommon or rare. I believe he's still sticking to his buy a tome as much as you can strategy, which may work in the early game, but for players who can exit with 27 embers and buy 3 tomes in a single run, he will quickly fall behind. Moving on to the first winner of the Black Mines, Cub. Now, his strategy looks very similar to Scar's in a lot of areas, except the fact that he's got more cards and less coins. Now, although Cub has made some amazing runs, I would say his statistics are pretty average. His deck isn't very expensive, only being worth around 154 embers in total, but unlike Scar, he seems to not be gunning for tomes alone. He's balancing a bit out equally. So moving on to DocM77, who is also a very strong contender. Skipping that one time he fell into the trapdoor, we haven't really heard much about this automating king. So DocM is building up a decent pace, and I would say while his statistics are very similar to both Scar's and Cub's, the distinction are in the cards, with 21 cards in total, 4 being uncommon. In fact, he has the 3rd most expensive deck in Decked Out 2, costing about 205 embers. With these cards, he will be able to continue progressing deeper and deeper into the dungeon, acquiring more embers at an average. Now this, as well as his in-depth knowledge of mobs, I believe he will have an easier time against the wardens than most. Hypnotized. Hypnotized is always a controversial one, as yes, he makes it down to floor 2 and 3 consistently, and he does have good dodging skills in terms of ravages. He has found the most hidden secrets in the dungeon, and he is definitely a contender to win Decked Out 2. Yet, he has some major flaws. Firstly, he has the 2nd to last win rate, with only 35.3% success rate of making it out alive out of this dungeon. While yes, he has a massive ember success rate of 25 embers, but his average comes out to be about the same as an average level 1 runner with a decent win percent rate. His deck only costs 164 embers and he only has 2 points on the board. With only 16 cards, 3 of which being uncommon, sadly his high risk, high reward strategy is not currently working for him. Now, while his content is very entertaining, to win I believe he needs to use his reckless charge cards on an easier level to rack up some easy embers, to be able to climb that leaderboard. Now, Gemini Slay. Gemini Slay is going crazy, with a high percent win rate of 63% in the dungeon. A ton of cards, 22, and actually tied first place for the most uncommon cards with 6 uncommons. But not only having the 2nd most expensive deck with 228 ember cost, she already has a decent number of points on the board, a great place to progress from. Now, since she has a large amount of cards now, she will be able to progress further and at a higher speed than most. But in top place currently is Etho. I mean, just to look at these statistics, top success rate, top gold per successful run, and overall top embers earned. And this is not by a small amount at all. He has brought a lot of tomes in phase 3 altogether, although this was supposed to be his deck building phase, but he still holds the most cards with 25. The only downfall I can see is he gets bored of farming. Now, this could cause him to have an extremely bad luck streak and lose over and over, or if Hypno decides to actually just farm embers and get no content, he might actually have a chance at overtaking Etho. But as the current standings go, I believe Etho doesn't really have a competition, apart from possibly Gemini Slay, who is making massive moves in phase 3.